So it's really exciting to see that things are settling down more in the United Democratic Party since the coming out of Alhaji Ousainou Darboe to declare his intent that if given the opportunity by the United Democratic Party, he is going to run as the flag bearer of the party. Ousainou Darboe do in fact, like I always say, have the right to run and also the prerogative to run for office of presidency for the Gambia. And there is no limit internally through the United Democratic Party in leadership succession system through its constitution and committees that it has set up that limits the running of Alhaji Ousainou Darboe. Given he has the right to run, I think a lot of people have actually said that, and there is no limitation as to why he cannot. And people who want to also contest can go head to head with Alhaji Ousainou Darboe. Well, on the other side, too, folks who strongly argued that there should be a limit to a candidate can actually run. That a candidate should not be able to run non-stop, especially if that candidate is unable to win elections through several elections that they've contested. So both arguments can coexist. On one hand, Ousainou has the right to run, he has the prerogative to run, and on the other hand, he should not in fact run because political parties or opposition parties are governments in waiting, as they always say, and whatever you do internally should mirror or reflect what you should be doing when you go into governmental office as well. So there is a need to have an internal democratic system through our policy frameworks that guarantee that if you go for a certain period of time, then somebody else should have the opportunity to also run. But clearly, most of our opposition parties in the Gambia do not have that, and that is, I think, a loophole that over time that serious political parties have to look into to find a way to make sure that the same person do not have to run over and over and over again, especially when they are unable to win. But personally, I have no problem with the candidacy of Honorable Alhaji Ousainou Darboe. Like I always say, I have deep respect and appreciation for Ousainou Darboe for the kind of leader he is, but also the great inspirational lawyer that he is for individuals like myself and those in the legal fraternity. But more so, the sacrifices that he has done for Gambia to stand up for the oppressed, the marginalized, in situations where very few people dared to stand up to the audacity of and the arbitrariness of the former government of President Yahya. Having that said, people should also remember that there is no speck of tribalism in Honorable Ousainou Darboe. That those arguments are one that I do not think have any basis whatsoever. That the argument being made about Ousainou Darboe, most of the time, out of malice that Ousainou should not run, that he is corrupt, that Ousainou should not run because he is tribalist. I don't think those are serious arguments at all. I think anybody who wants to judge or characterize the personality, the public personality of Honorable Ousainou Darboe, you should be able to argue as to why you cannot align with him. Objectively, situations like, oh, when he was vice president, he was unable to do this, or when he was foreign affairs minister, he was unable to do that, or he did this, he was found wanting for this sort of thing. But most people cannot tell you that. And so it begs the question, really, what is it about Ousainou Darboe that really bothers people so much that they do not want to vote for him and they rather settle with President Barrow? Argument has always been that, like, if you don't want to vote for Ousainou Darboe, there are tons of other options that you could vote for. It doesn't have to be President Barrow. You don't have to literally decide the whole outcome of our presidential elections on the basis that Ousainou Darboe is going to run, which you do not like, either rightly or wrongly, which you have the right to do. But we have a multi-party democracy where there are several other options that you could go for and vote for. It doesn't have to be United Democratic Party. But if you do not like United Democratic Party, it has to be based on some cogent reasoning as to why you do not really like United Democratic Party. I hope it is one that is not premised or predicated on tribal beliefs or perceptions. I hope one is not one that is predicated on fear mongering that if a UDP government comes into office, this is how they're going to act against other tribes or groups in the Gambia. That is not a serious argument. And I think as we continue to have these conversations, we should be open to having those discourses to genuinely ask people why. Because frankly, every political party in the Gambia has in its membership a segment that is highly tribalist. That's evident in every political party in the Gambia. Is it more evident in the United Democratic Party? Yes, because their membership is bigger than every other party in the Gambia. So you get to see more of it from the United Democratic Party through some of its core membership that tells people, this social person is not Mandinka enough, or we should promote this Mandinka ideology, or we should promote this Mandinka membership. Whatever it is that they promote, we do have that in the United Democratic Party. And I think United Democratic Party, as a party itself, recognizes that there is a part of their party that is highly problematic. But that's any party in the world too, not only in the Gambia, even here in the United States. But they stick together. They know that the whole concept of party politics comes with that diversity. And you do not punish or kick people out because they tend to do their politics in a much more uncommon or unconventional way. We have to be open to disagree on our modus operandi of how we run our political parties. So we do have that in the United Democratic Party, but we do have that in other parties as well. So there is a good argument to be made for any political party, a part of it that promotes a certain section or group ideology. So the whole purpose of this is, I hope Gambians will continue to rise above tribal politics. I hope Gambians will continue to rise above personality politics. I hope Gambians will continue to rise above voting for people on the basis that they come from their families or they come from their ethnicities. I think that is the only way we can transform and evolve our politics into an issue-based politics. Because the issues of the Gambia are so serious that we waste so much time to attack each other on our tribal leanings or our ethnic backgrounds or of our parties who espouse certain really unsavory things about certain groups of people, and then we tend to judge the entire party based off that. I shy away from that because, I can disagree with you. In fact, I vehemently disagree with Honorable Ousainou Darboe a lot of times. Not that it matters, but I still admire and respect Honorable Ousainou Darboe. I disagree with Honorable Halifa Sallah most of the time, but I admire and respect Honorable Halifa Sallah most of the time. And I think that should be the basis, that we can still revel at each other's humanity as human beings and fundamentally disagree based on issue. We can disagree based on issue and still continue to dialogue on how we can continue to move this country forward. Because the thing is, what binds all of us is that we are all Gambians and we love this country and we want to see better for our country. But we cannot do that if we continue to focus on personalities and identities and group identities or group leanings or even faith-based politics, because all of that form part of what our political system truly is. So I encourage people to continue this dialogue. Let's not isolate ourselves. We should continue to have the conversation of how can we legitimately contest a formidable case against the current government of President Adama Barrow. Because do not underestimate the power of incumbency. Barrow has so much resources and power. And one thing I know for sure also is people appreciate President Barrow because of his ability to be accepting and accommodating of divergent views.